Hello, today we are going to answer the question, what rights do we have? Now, to do that, we are going to review our knowledge of the Constitution. So remember, the Constitution has a preamble, 7 articles, and 27 amendments. We are going to be focused on those first 10 of the 27 amendments, which are called the Bill of Rights. Today, we are just going to focus on amendments 1 through 5, so we can check that information, learn that, and then once we have a good understanding of that, we'll move on to amendments 6 through 10. So let's get started. Let's start with our first amendment, which has 5 key rights. Freedom of speech. This means we have the ability to express ourselves by saying our thoughts and our feelings and our opinions. Freedom of the press. Now, the press refers to things such as newspapers, magazines, the media, things that are reporting on the news. Freedom of religion. We have the ability to practice the religion that we choose. Freedom to petition. Now think about this in terms of if you disagree with something at school, you could create a document showing that and have your peers sign it to show their support. And freedom to assemble. This means that you could gather with a group of people to protest your ideas about a certain topic in the government or elsewhere. Now let's look at our Second Amendment. This amendment is the right to bear arms. Now, I'm not talking about a bear as in one that we would see in the woods, or even arms on our body. The right to bear arms means that we have the ability to have weapons. Now let's look at our Third Amendment. This amendment says we cannot be forced to quarter troops, which means we cannot be forced to let soldiers stay in our homes, which goes back to colonial times. On to our Fourth Amendment. This one says no illegal search and seizure, which means the police need a warrant and probable cause in order to search your property. And finally, the Fifth Amendment. This has a couple components to it. The first is no double jeopardy. And no, I'm not talking about the game show. Double jeopardy means you cannot be tried for the same crime twice. You also cannot be forced to be a witness against yourself. And you are entitled to due process of law, which means equal treatment in the judicial system. And finally, the government cannot take your property without compensation. That refers to money. So you cannot just be forced to give up your property without getting some money. So we reviewed these 5 amendments. Could you be a lawyer and specialize in these rights? Let's find out. Let's try the first example. The police want to search your car, but they do not have a warrant. Which amendment do you think this is? Excellent! It is our Fourth Amendment because the police need a warrant in order to do so. Let's try a second example. You want to join a protest at the state capitol because you disagree with the law that was recently passed. Which amendment could this be? Excellent! That is going to be our First Amendment right to assemble and petition. You go to trial and you are forced to testify against yourself. Which amendment is that? Excellent! That is number 5. You cannot be forced to do so. Stay tuned as we look for Amendments 6 through 10 next week.